Hello there, friends, and welcome back to another episode of Football Manager Therapy. I'm your host, Rich Owens, and joining me this week, we have two of the finest people in the world. We have the United City FM Kev, and we have Callum. Good morning, fellas. It's wonderful to spend the morning in your company, as always. Kev, how are we, my friend?
I'm doing very, very well, Rich. We've made it through another week. We get to do another podcast episode. What more could you ask for? I'm doing good. How are you, my friend? Everything good?
Yeah, all good, mate. All good. I think you've just hit the nail on the head there, pal. It's Sunday mornings just feel like a little treat, don't they? It's just a nice little thing we get to do of a weekend. It's just my reward for just slogging on through a very, very long week. I've not slogged. It's been nice. It's been a pleasant week this week. I really can't complain that much. Callum, how about you, pal? Are you joining us in there? It's been all right week, or are you just you're eternally sunshiny, so of course you are.
Well, my sunshine has been a little bit dimmer this week, I think. Sometimes it's okay to not have a great week. And I've talked about it on stream this week as well. It's not been my favourite week of the year, I'll be honest. But I'm happy to be here. And looking forward to the pod.
Exactly. Bless you, mate. Bless you. And just want to say, sometimes it's okay to not be okay. So don't beat yourself
we've
up
seen
if
a
you find
really amazing demonstration of that this week, haven't we? If you've been paying attention to the Dele Alli interview that came out, yeah. I don't know if either of you saw the Frank Lampard interview that was on the Diary of a CEO as well. Watch those two things if you haven't. That will have a big impact on understanding it's okay not to be okay, but it's also a great thing to try and process some of that and figure some of it out. But yeah, amazing work by those two to be able to come out and express themselves so well.
Very brave.
Yeah, very, very. Especially, yeah, I've not seen the Frank Lampard episode, but I've seen a lot of the Dele Alli interview, and it's just absolutely incredible. Like the courage it takes to just sit there and so like openly and honestly talk about it. And he's so objective about it as well. It's like that takes a lot, because not only is he identifying that he's struggled, which is sometimes the hardest thing to do, he's making steps and he's trying to take steps and try and help himself, which again is not necessarily the easiest thing to do. So more power to him, I think, and also to Frank Lampard as well. It's not the easiest thing to do, sit down and talk about yourself sometimes, especially when it's not a positive thing you're talking about. So much love to both of them. Well done, fellas. We respect you both enormously. There we go. See, it wasn't necessarily the start to the podcast we were expecting, was it? It took a turn, took a little left, took a little swerve there, but it was a swerve in the right direction. Wonderful stuff. Now, as you may or may not know, around here at Football Manager Therapy, we like to start each week's record with a little recap of what one of us has been up to over the past few weeks. We've all been busy boys making that content on the internet. This week, Callum, would you a little update? I get to ask my favourite question in the entire world. Callum, how's the stream going?
You've missed it. You missed the joke.
Or did I? Slough's it going, pal?
Yes.
There it is.
It's going great, thanks. Yes, so I had to rack my brain as to what the last update was with Slough. It was a little while ago, I think. So I'm going to take you all the way back to my previous season, and I'm going to sort of touch upon both seasons, but maybe not as in depth, because I don't want to be here for the next 45 minutes. Stuff has happened, basically. But we currently sit in League One as it stands, and we were in the 33-34 season, and that was the season we got promoted into League One from League Two. And when you get promoted into League One, it's a really funny division. Lots of people say it's similar to League Two in a lot of ways. I think the jump from League One to the Championship is significant. I do think that's a big old jump. However, the one from League Two to League One, not as big. So when you do get promoted into it, you do sort of go with could I do something this season? Could I get in and around the playoffs? And And we started really, really well. We started the season with a sea of green, as Kev likes to say, a sea of green at the start of the season. And I couldn't work out whether it was sort of like the new promotion bounce or we just found our level and we were really good. It was the new promotion bounce. It was the new promotion bounce, definitely. We then had about 2.5 months of hell. It was really bad, really, really bad. Draws everywhere, losses everywhere. We didn't score for about 6 games at one point. It was a bad old period during sort of September, October, November. And so then I went, that's fair enough. It's our first season in League One. We're finding our level, and our level is not getting out of League One yet. And so we middled out, and the season continued that way. For quite a way until suddenly sort of we got into the middle of January, and it wasn't anything to do with signings because we're still I've got this awkward situation, and you'll have this a lot when you do a Road to Glory type of save where you start at the bottom. Reputation can be a real issue, especially as you sort of going up the divisions where reputation doesn't keep up. So despite being in League One, I was probably still regarded as a team that was maybe a good national side reputation wise. So when you're trying to compete for players and you offer for a player and then a team in League Two offers, you would assume, being a League One side, that they go, yeah, we'll come and join you. No, they don't. They go, well, actually the League Two side are offering less money, but we reckon they're a better club, so we're going to go there instead. It's like, brilliant, great. So you're constantly trying to convince players. You're like, come into my office. No, honestly, we are good. Yes, League One. We're in, not the conference. We're in League One. No, I promise you, I'm not lying. Look, here's the signs. Look at all the advertising hoardings around the ground. Look on my shirt, it says League One. Like, so we're really trying to convince everybody, and we did manage to convince a few lovely little people to stay on. A lot of them were like loans we'd got in League Two, so they'd already bought into the Slough method, which I kind of love. Like, I kind of love it when you get a loanee and they're like, oh no, we get the club. Like, we're happy to come back. Like, I like that. And there are a couple of notable ones during this season. The first being someone called Mohamed Adepoju. Now, he was someone who has become a bit of a villain in my chat. I love him. He is a centre forward, still very young. I think when I signed him on loan, he was 19 years old, and I signed him from Luton Town. He is a new gen, and he's not a striker with an awful lot of pace. He's a target forward with 16 heading, 16 strength, and 19 bravery. So he puts his head where others wouldn't put their feet. So he and I like that straight away. But he didn't really work as a target forward at all, despite those attributes. And as me and Kev, we love a target forward on FM23. That was my initial. I was like, I'm really excited about him, but he just didn't work. And I was like, but he's got enough about him to be a good footballer, so I want to keep trying him. And so I actually played him as an advanced forward, which on his list, I'm looking at him now, is his 5th best striking position. It's not where he wants to play as a striker, but I love an advanced forward. So I was like, right, you're gonna play this way, Mohamed. And he just started getting some goals, and he ended the season with 18 goals, which in a season, our first season in League One is really, really good. Like, it was enough to keep us in the division, but we didn't just finish mid-table. The season got better and better as it went on, and it was a really odd one where it was like, hold on, is something happening here? Because all season long, this hasn't felt like a season where something should be happening. We also, notably in January, so the reason I touched upon the fact that Mohamed Adepoju is a bit of a chat villain. Chat really don't like him, like, at all. And I don't know why. They call him Adapoo-poo, which hurts me and him. And it was because the origin story of this player is Chat fell in love with a striker called Adam Cockbill. Now, I think Adam Cockbill is a name in the game. He's a new gen, but I'm pretty sure I've seen his name in most saves that I do. So he must be either someone who works at SI or something like that. You know, one of those new gens which is always in the game. Chat fell in love with Adam Cockbill. I don't know why. It's definitely not something to do with his name, I assume.
No, it couldn't possibly be that at all.
I wouldn't have thought so.
In fairness, the name Adam is quite funny.
It is. And Bill as well. I love a Bill. So Adam Cockbill, it was either Cockbill or Adepoju, and Adepoju was better in every single way. So I signed Adepoju. Chat was not happy about this, immediately hated Adepoju, as you can understand. However, in the January of this season, I also signed Adam Cockbill. So, I brought in Adam Cockbill isn't very good at football, but my word, he can run. He can really run. He's super quick, but he's not very good. He's also a striker. So at times it was a Cockbill and an Adepoju front two. So every time Adepoju shot, they booed him. And every time Cockbill missed, they applauded and, they were on their feet. But we managed in this season, inexplicably, to get into the playoffs. And I don't know how we managed it. We finished in 5th. And as I say, it was one of those seasons where I didn't really know what was going on. I'm looking back at the fixtures here. I actually scheduled a friendly in March. And things aren't going well when you're scheduling friendlies in March just for morale. We won that friendly 11-0.
Nice.
but that took us into the run-in. And we got Forest Green in the playoffs. And I said to everyone in chat, I was like, we shouldn't be here.
Another playoffs. I don't know.
My record in playoffs is diabolical. For anyone who's not aware, this is my 11th season in game. Up to then, this is my 7th playoff. Out of 11 seasons, it was my 7th playoff. And I think, to my knowledge, I've only won one of those. So the fans didn't turn up. They just decided, you know what? He's not going to win the playoffs. We'll see you next year in League One. And they were correct too. We lost the first leg 1-0 to Forest Green at home. It was quite a tight game. I thought, you never know. Maybe we'll get him in the away leg. We lost 3-0 and we got an early red card. So that didn't go well. So we were like, right, that's fine. We didn't expect to go up anyway. We'll strengthen over the summer, hopefully. And we'll go from there. And we did actually strengthen. We were given a very, very small budget, a very small budget indeed. I believe, if I remember rightly, it was something around £100,000, which, for a League One team, when you're competing with teams spending millions, it's quite considerably down. I managed to sell a few different players, including one of my favourite things to do, where you sign the youth players from Premier League teams when their contract runs out. You don't use them at all. And then you find about 2 of them are really good and you sell them for money. So I signed a beautifully named person called Cameron Buffonge, brilliant name. Sold him to Tranmere for £200,000. I was like, brilliant. I've just doubled my budget. This is amazing. And in doing that, we found Birmingham in my save, and this is quite common in saves on FM23, have dropped off a cliff. They've been in administration, they've had serious financial difficulties, and they're in the conference. But because of that, they still have a good youth system and stuff like that. So they're bringing through players, and they had this player called Sam Roberts, who is very much a right midfielder, not a defensive midfielder. But naturally, my eyes lit up and went, you are a Segundo Volante. I am going to sign you and you are joining my club. So 18-year-old Sam Roberts came in for a club record, £200,000. And I brought him in and he immediately went, boss, I'm not a Segundo Volante. I am a right midfielder. I'm a good right midfielder. And I went, Sam, you're a Segundo Volante. You go over there and start training, son, because you're going to be the best Segundo Volante I've ever seen. So he came in. We signed Adepoju on a permanent deal, which, as you can imagine, went down really well in chat. I signed someone called Phil Neville. So he's called not Phil Neville, and he is rubbish. I should not have signed him. Anyway, this season rolled round, though, and we thought, well, we got the playoffs next season. Obviously, we're going to win the league this year. That's how it works, isn't it? That is definitely how it works. We were predicted once again to finish 20th because FM hates me, and the reputation is rubbish. But
agreed.
We are now in a situation where we've played 39 games, and I feel like I've just jumped an entire season there, but I'm fine with that. We've played 39 games, and I'm going to tell you, chaps, we're sat in second position after 39 games. We're sat in second. Adepoju is the best rated player in the league. So, no biggie.
Oh, dear. Chat will love that, surely.
And chat also love the fact that Adam Cockbill has thrown his toys out of the pram and is probably leaving on a free at the end of the year. Because it turns out just a name isn't enough to get into the team. We've done really, really well. We also have had some notable cup runs, and there was one cup run in particular in the Carabao Cup where we did a madness. We did an absolute madness. So you get thrown into the Carabao Cup first round, obviously in League One. We played Fleetwood. We beat them on penalties. Wonderful stuff. We got Burton in the next round. We beat them 2-0. Thrown into the third round of the Carabao Cup, we get drawn at home to Premier League Watford. So, first of all, annoyed it's not away for, the money.
The money,
Didn't get any of that. So I told the players about that, and I said, look, we're earning basically nothing from this. So you've got two options. Number one, you earn a replay. Boss, there's no replays in the Carabao Cup. Okay, that's an issue. You don't earn a replay. You go and beat them. You up for that? Yeah. And they blooming did. We beat them 2-0. Premier League Watford. Then next round, Crew away from home. Nice, easy one. We just beat them Premier League Watford. That, we'll walk all over them. 3-3. Took it to penalties, but we beat them on penalties. And then I went, what happens after the Carabao Cup? Is it the round of 16? It's the quarterfinals. We were in the quarterfinals of the Carabao Cup. And, there were some big, big teams in this. And we got drawn away from home. And I was like, Liverpool. We got drawn away from home to Liverpool. Now, long story short, we lost the game 3-0. But who cares? We got £1 million, £1 million from it. So that's that new training facilities, new facilities, something like that is a game changer. It is an absolute game changer. The result was irrelevant. They absolutely battered us. But it didn't matter because we walked away with so much money from it that, you could be in League One for the next 10 seasons and not earn that money in League One. So it was absolutely magic. So, as I say, we're still in the Papa John's as well, which is madness, the Pizza Cup surprise. But we have 6 games remaining. We're on 73 points. We're 6 points clear of third place. We're 3 points off top, which is Plymouth. We could go up. Well, we genuinely could go up, and it's ahead of schedule. Honestly, I wasn't expecting this because what's about to happen? I've got a week left in work in real life, not in FM. I'm staying at Slough forever. Although it was also a full-time job. I've got a week left in work, and what then clicks in is a beautiful thing called Summer Callum. And it's a very exciting thing where suddenly I go from 2 evening streams a week to pretty much every single day. It's a thing of magic, and we're going to do some serious Slough over the summer. It's a beautiful thing. So we may well be heading into Summer Callum in the Championship.
Fantastic.
Very excited. But key to all of this, I think, boys, and I've touched upon transfers a couple of times there. Key to all of this is free transfers, because the reality is convincing players to join is very, very tricky. And as I say, my club record, I'm in season 12 now. My club record signing is £200,000. So I really haven't spent very much money at all. I would say probably 95% of my signings have been free transfers, and they're so important in the lower leagues, making your way up when you're a club who's fairly cash strapped. And so I think, Rich, do you reckon we should have a chat about free transfers?
You know what? On the basis that it's on the agenda for today, and it was such a good segue, I think we'd be stupid not to, wouldn't we?
Why not?
Honestly, what a segue.
That is a segue. I'd be worried, Rich, if I were you, because that is a segue. I mean, I remember one of our more recent recordings, you got to a segue and thought, I can't do a segue. So it's things standards, Rich,
I know. That we all remember, oh, who's coming for Rich's job during the Rich and Tony era? Genuinely, Callum.
Everybody was.
Literally everybody.
Everyone.
Take on all comers, Rich Owens. That's what they used to call me. Free transfers, though. What an excellent idea. What an excellent idea you've had, Callum. How spontaneous. Because I think you are right. There's a lot of different approaches to the free transfer market. And I don't think it matters necessarily if you are a top performing club in Europe, if you're if you're 3 or 4 years into a journeyman, slogging away in the 4th or 5th tier of Swedish football. A free transfer can be a game changer at any level. I think it's quite safe to say. And given the time of year, given the time that we are, we are now slap bang in the middle of the summer transfer window. In real life, or you've seen all your Premier League clubs recently announcing their retained lists and their released lists. I think, it's probably time that we as a collective, as a podcast, take a moment to sit down and have a little reflect on that and talk about some of our favourite strategies for certain leagues, the best ways of doing it. If we didn't do it, I think we were missing a trick. So here we go. I've taken it. I've looked at this from the kind of approach of I've gone through your lists of your free transfers, and I'm looking at it from I'm approaching it from a couple of different ways. I've got a player on my list who I think is arguably in terms of modern football probably one of the best free transfers of the last 10 years. I don't really think it's close. And that player is a player who, isn't it though? Isn't it? He's popped up on podcast previously. It's everybody's best mate, Bobby Lewandowski. Robert Lewandowski. What a player. What a boy. And I know this will probably make people that may listen to this podcast who are fans of clubs like Borussia Dortmund quite angry. Soz Dortmund fans. It just seems to be the way it goes. Dortmund pick up a player as exactly what they did with Lewandowski, not necessarily of a hugely, of a massive reputation in terms of their European pedigree, but a really, really promising young player. Turn him into a goal-scoring machine over 3 or 4 seasons. And then when that contract expiry starts to roll around, Bayern Munich go, yep, ours, dibs. It's like this is ours, we'll have him. We've licked him now.
Just a bunch of bullies, aren't they, really?
They really are, aren't they? It's like, it's frustrating because in terms of Football Manager as well, they have a really, really good youth system, but they just don't need it because, as it turns out, the Bundesliga is Bayern Munich's youth system, because they're like, right, sign that player, make him really good for 3 years, and then we'll just have him on a free. And for my money, in terms of Bayern Munich's free transfers over the last decade, I don't think it gets much better than Robert Lewandowski. Prolific goal scorer. Arguably one of the best strikers in European football of the last decade. He's such a threat. He's just so good at football. He cost them nothing. He cost them absolutely nothing. And it's not very often that a player who's already near enough the finished article turns up at your football club, and a club like Bayern Munich, they only have the ability to make players better. If you send somebody in there who's really, really, really good, they're going to go, don't worry, we'll give them the magic formula and we'll turn them into world beaters. And that's exactly what they did. And for my money, I can't think of too many players of that standard that have moved to a club on a free transfer, gone on to have the prolific career they had at that club, won league title after league title after league title, because of course they did. But he was so influential in those, so influential in those. I mean, if you look at this season in Germany, the title race was really, really open this year. And, is it a coincidence that that's, Lewandowski's first season away from the Bundesliga in about 12 or 13 years? Probably. But you could also make the compelling argument that, they were lacking his goals, and it was a much more open title race this year. I love him. Callum, were you aware that he was no longer playing in Germany?
No idea at all. No idea. I thought his name was Roberto Lewandowski. I'm sure it's Roberto.
Famous Belgian footballer, Roberto.
Belgian manager, isn't he? I'm sure he is. I've got no idea. Yeah.
No, he is wonderful. And like I say, that level of free transfer is you literally just can't put a cash value on it. Because to go out there, if somebody had tried to buy him, if he'd stayed at Dortmund for another 2 or 3 seasons and had become as good as he was, kind of 2 or 3 seasons into his career at Bayern Munich, you'd have been looking even back then like 80, 90 million pounds for a striker, which astronomical fees 6 or 7 years ago, especially. No money they paid for him. I can't emphasize that enough. £0, not even a euro exchange hands. And yep, in he goes. Best player, best striker in Europe, or one of the best for another 8 or 9 seasons, and then moves to Barcelona, and then just goes and does it again there. Wins the Liga, first season there. Prolific, absolutely prolific. And I love him, and I think he's wonderful. And that's the reason, for my money, one of the best free transfers of all time. I mean, there are plenty of free transfers that have gone to Bayern Munich. You could also make a compelling argument for as being really good. But for me, in terms of the value he offered that club, it doesn't get much better. Kev,
Yes.
What about you, my friend? What, like you've been doing a bit of deep dive into some free transfers. What have you come up with, pal?
Yeah, I mean, there's some. If you look at your own IRL teams that you support, there's always going to be the occasional one in there. From Man United's perspective, I could look at Ibrahimovic. We got a good season out of him. Man United seem to go for very old strikers on a free transfer and see what they can get. Cavani, Michael Owen, all that kind of stuff we've had hasn't quite worked out. But I wanted to veer away from them, and I've kind of gone almost like. I think most people will go, well, yeah, somebody was going to mention that, because I think a couple of seasons ago, when you were looking at the landscape of football, PSG and their absolute billions of pounds that they've got to at their disposal went, don't need them. All we need is the name of PSG and a decent opportunity, and we can attract Messi, Donnarumma, Wijnaldum, and Ramos to our club, all on free transfers, all in the same window. And then 2 seasons later, in this summer transfer window, they go, oh yeah, but there's Skriniar there as well. We'll have him. There's Asensio as well. We'll have him as well. And these are all free transfers for potentially the richest club in the entire world of football, which again demonstrates that, there's some smart people there doing some smart things. Now, so far, you have to admit that whilst they're fairly dominant in their own country, a lot of the time, they haven't managed to do it in European football. And now, are we on the verge of it just slightly changing for them a little bit? Messi's gone, etc. What's happening with Mbappe? Is Neymar staying? All that kind of stuff. I get all of that. But forget about that for a second and just say, look, that's 6 players that would probably cost you 350 million pound over the last 2 seasons that they've gone and got in all at the same time. You would expect 2 of those to have gone somewhere else. Barca might have wanted one, or Man United might have wanted one, or whatever it might be. But no, they all went to PSG. That is some insane business, really, to be able to get those players in. So hats off to whoever managed to figure that one out, because that's ridiculous in every way. It does ask a question, though, I think. In the wider context here, we're looking at IRL football. But if we bring it back to Football Manager just a bit, about strategy. And now the thing for me that I realized this last night, spoiler alert, I did some homework last night because Rich says we're going to talk about this, so we do. And I was looking into the whole free transfer stuff, and there are lots of routes you can go. But I was trying to figure out what that looks like in my game of Football Manager, not my specific one that I'm playing now, but just in general, how do I deal with free transfers? And I realized, actually, as a content creator, we've had this conversation over a number of issues, training being one of them recently, where potentially I don't play the game on camera in the same way that I would off camera. And one of the realizations here is the 31st of December. How often do you actually hit the 31st of December and go, in 6 months' time, there's loads of people losing their contracts. They're all running down. I need to go and have a look at them, scour through them, get 2 or 3 of them in my club at this point, and then next season we're going to look better. I very rarely do that on my live streams. And I used to do it all the time as a Football Manager player in general terms. And I don't know whether it's the type of save that I'm doing. Maybe it's because when I was not a content creator, it was probably more geared to the one club save. So you were a bit more invested in that process of how you better your one club. But strategy wise, is that something you guys are doing? The 31st of December, are you always there at the very, very crack of dawn on that first moments of the day going, yes, please? Or is it something that's not connected to you somehow?
No, I'm exactly the same. I'm a planner in real life, but with FM, I quite often forget. I think it's tricky, isn't it? It's tricky to know. Also, it's tricky to know what division you'll be in. So, for example, like now with my save as it's going, in January, did I think that I might be in the Championship? Yeah, absolutely. But would I have been able to sign players that would play in the Championship? Not a chance. Like we've talked, I've already mentioned reputation. Like, there's no way I am convincing Championship quality players to join me, League One Slough, who have a reputation of a Vanarama national team. Like, it's not going to happen. So the only way, in my eyes, the only way is sort of that tick over moment where suddenly it goes, yep, you're now in this division. and then suddenly players go, oh yeah, now I realize you're in that division. And that's when I would do it. I think it's I definitely do look. I tend to look with 3 months to go, more than 6 months. I that's because it's around that sort of time where your season's starting to die down. You're starting to get to a point where, yes, I know where we're going to be next season. Realistically, either we're going to be top end of the division we're in again, or we're going to go down, or whatever, blah blah blah. But yeah, I think it is important to forward think with free transfers in general. I mean, my biggest piece of advice is be patient, wait. The amount of players that I find in those sort of times, Kevin, I go, that he is fantastic. Like he is exactly what I want. You go into negotiations and it goes one or two ways. Either straight away, got no interest in talking to you. Why have you even brought me into this office? Leave me alone. Or, yeah, sure. Would you like to give me way more money than I'm definitely worth? Come on, I'll join you now. You give me way more. And walk away. Do not give them that money, because what you'll find is one or two things will happen again. Either, yes, they'll get that money from someone else, and you can't do anything about that. If you can't financially compete, you can't financially compete. Or they won't get a club. And then you wait, and they wait, and you wait, and they wait, and you offer them another 4-week trial. And they come on trial again with you, and they're around the facilities. They're getting to know, Glendo does the tees, and they and Wayne, who's the pitch, he lines the pitch. They're always with Wayne at the start of training set. They know them all. They're part of the furniture around the club. And suddenly, then 8 weeks into their trial, you turn around and go, "Do you want to step back in the office?" And they go, "Yeah, okay, yeah, I'll step back in the office." "Do you still want the same money?" "No, actually, I quite like it around here now. I'm willing to take half of that." And you go, "Not good enough. Get out of my office." And then you have them on trial again for 4 weeks.
Hardball. Wow.
But then, if FM is what FM is, and it happens all the time. You do this. You have this back and forth. Like, I'm playing this brilliantly. I'm an absolute genius. I'm going to get in for so cheap. And then finally you get to the point where I've got it. I've got the contract exactly where I want it to be. This is perfect. He's the player I want. This is the contract I want. You send it, submit, bam. Suddenly 12 teams offer for that player. You've been after him for the entire summer. You've pinned all your hopes on him, and they go, "Oh, brilliant. So I'm not getting him. Let's start again with someone else now." But that's genuinely, I think waiting is the most important thing with a free transfer, because their demands will get lower and lower and lower the longer they have to wait, because they want to get in, they want to get a club as well. So they have to be realistic. And I like that element of the game. I think it is that realism element, because ultimately if Lewandowski's sitting there going, "You have to pay me £100,000 a week to sign me," and no one tries to sign him, he would then go, "Okay, give me 80. I'll come for 80. It's just the reality of the situation. So yeah, wait, be patient.
We've learned a lot there. So basically, when it comes to the free transfer market, Callum's approach to it is just full on psychological warfare.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
And but never underestimate the influence of Glenda either. Glenda on the tees,
obviously.
Oh,
She's
she makes a mean brew. As it turns out, I'm very different to the two of you. Weirdly enough, 31st of December each year. I know Christmas was only the week before, but that's my Christmas day. Free. Contracts expiring in 6 months' time, inject it into my veins. Because again, we know, and Callum, you've hit the nail on the head there with a lot of the points. Early doors, a lot of those players, the contracts they're going to be coming in for are going to be comparable with the contracts that they are currently on. And even if, Kev, you've touched on PSG there, a second string player at PSG who's maybe played 5 minutes of football all season, who is going to be released on a free at the end of the year and would absolutely walk into your first team, is probably still going to be on £70,000-80,000 a week. And you may well be managing a club where your wage structure allows a maximum of 20. So they're not going to be coming in, but you can earmark them and you can just keep an eye. And then come the end of the season, exactly as Callum says, suddenly their demands are going to fall off a cliff. And that's when you strike. But for me, it's getting in there early. It's checking everything. Like, right, this player, not wanted by anybody, contracts expiring in 6 months. This is somebody that I could pick up. Alternatively, you're going to have players that are like, I'm just desperate to move, so my demands are going to be significantly lower anyway. And those are the ones we can do business a little bit early. it's interesting for me at the moment, managing in Scandinavia, because the seasons take place in such weird times. I'm currently halfway through my season in Sweden with AIK. And I'm looking at my calendar, and I'm like, all of a sudden, there's just loads of free agents. And it's because it's the middle of the season, but I'm not paying attention to the dates correctly. And I realized, oh, I'm now in early July. I'm halfway through my season, but suddenly there are a plethora of players that have just become available on free transfers. And it kind of going back in and just checking out that list. You're like, oh, we can actually get in early doors here. We can do a few bits of business. We can do a few bits and pieces. And because they're already released, suddenly those wage demands have plummeted astronomically as well. So you can strike then. It's a really, really interesting time for me. It's something that I'm really, really excited about. It's one of my favorite parts every single season. Release day and December the 31st, every single season, I am in there like a whippet. And it's something I do on stream regularly. I'm like, right, even if I haven't got the leagues loaded in properly, I'm like, we'll load up the clubs and we'll just click through club after club and we'll look at that release list. We'll look at that released on freeze and we will take it from there, because that is inevitably every season. That's a fairly big part of one of my streams. It's something I really do dive into. And again, I know that's one of the things, actually, is as a content creator, it's something that I'm not necessarily focused on what the audience are thinking at that point. It's not an audience focused part of my stream. It's just something that I'm like, this is just for Rich. This is a little treat for me. This is just going to be 20 minutes of looking at a really, really long list of names. I'm going, nope, he's not very good. He's not very good. He's not very good. He might be good. And then it's that little might be goods. Those are the ones that make it all worthwhile. No, that's entirely for me. Sorry, audience. I do apologize. I love you really, but sometimes it's just about what I want to do. So there we are. That's the way I approach it. And we've said before, there's no right or wrong ways of playing the game.
Have any of you got any key free transfers that you have picked up in games that have made a huge difference? I mean, it's a bit of a I've been playing this for 30 years or whatever, and I can hardly remember what I did last season, let alone 30 years ago. But there have been loads along the way. Anybody specific?
I mean, I've had loads. Like, I mean, I think I've probably had more good free transfers than more transfers I paid money for, honestly. Especially when you do the saves that are from lower down. I mean, like within, obviously the save I'm doing now, within the Slough save, I've signed a goalkeeper called Caleb Anson, who is in the Norwich Youth Academy currently in real life. He's 6'6". He's Italian. And he's incredible. He's so good. I signed him in the Vanarama South. He's still my number one in League One. Don't get me wrong, he makes a mistake every now and again, but he's part of the furniture. He's going nowhere. I think Zealand had him as well. And when I got that infamous Zealand raid, everyone was like, "Oh, Caleb Anson's rubbish." So there was a bit of an argument between my 20 chatters and the hundreds of the Zealand ones about Caleb Anson momentarily. But yeah, he's been really, really good for me. But I think anyone you can pick up who immediately you go, he is better than the level I'm playing at the moment is massive. But I suppose the biggest ones, I touched upon it on my save update there. From a financial point of view, is making sure you're on the pulse with who is being released from the Premier League clubs, who might not necessarily get in your teams, but because they've got that potential, they can, from a business side, make you that money. You know, and they can really help every now and again. You know, getting a player and then selling them for a couple of £100,000 is really big at the lower levels. When you go up the divisions, it's so much less common. But you look in real life at the moment. I mean, like, I'm wearing an Everton top right now. Everton have just signed Ashley Young on a free, and like that's when I first heard about Ashley Young, I was like, he's 38. He's Ashley Young, like in his pomp, absolutely. Like he was a quality footballer. But am I excited about this? Like, not at all. And then I started looking into it, and it went, actually, he's played, you know, the majority of the games he's been available for. He was pretty much Villa's left back last season. This is actually a really good signing. Why am I not excited about this? I'm not excited because it's free. Like if we were buying him for £20 million, obviously people would be excited about it because, oh, we're spending money on him. You know, it's Ashley Young. He's ex-England international, United captain. You know, all this sort of thing. But because it's free, your expectations are tempered. And I think the biggest thing about it all is the expectations aren't as high on that player because they're
Mm.
free. You're not paying any money. So worst case scenario, literally worst case scenario, is you pay their wage for a couple of years and you let them go on a free again, and you've not lost any money. So all in all, free transfers are the best. I love them. They're great.
Fair.
No, they are very good, and as you say, the lower league saves, they're the bread and butter. Like they are what they're what make the save possible. You know, I've spent time doing tier 10 saves, and it's just a revolving door of players. It's just a revolving door. It's like you look and you're checking, and your scout will come back one day. It's like, oh, I found a central midfielder, and I'm going to blow your mind. This central midfielder, their passing attribute is a 6, and you're like, right, stop. We have to sign him immediately. We have to sign him immediately. He is the tier 10 equivalent of Xavi in his prime. Get that player in the club immediately. It's like, right, sorry, existing third choice central midfielder whose passing is only 3. See ya. And off they go. It costs no money. In comes a new player. It might cost you £5 more a week in wages, but suddenly your midfield is exponentially better than it was the day before. And given the nature of those shorter contracts, it's just like you're in, you're out, you're in, you're out, you're in, you're out. And that's what makes it work, especially in the lower leagues. Like if you're doing a non-league save, it is incredibly rare that you're actually going to be spending real life money on a player before you're anywhere near actual, the professional leagues. Like before you get into like League 2, League 1, it is highly unlikely you're going to be opening your wallet and spending money on a player. But that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of the beast. That's the way the game works. Callum, you've also touched upon a very interesting point there in terms of, your Premier League, you've released Premier League players moving to a club, maybe League 1, League 2 on a free, selling them on, making profit from them. I think it'd be really, really funny if that was to happen at the highest level of football and it happened with the same player, not once, but twice. I think that would be hilarious.
It would be
Paul
really
Pogba,
fun.
Anybody. Paul Pogba, anyone. Just want to put that out there. Soz Kev. But in terms of free transfers, he's moved to Juventus on a free twice. And the first time, how much did Man United pay to buy Paul Pogba back from Juventus first time around, Kev? It must have been close to
20 quid.
Yeah, about
20,
about
25.
20
Was it 80 or 90 somewhere around?
about 90? Yeah, about sign a player on a free, play him for 3 or 4 years, sell him back to the club that you got him in on a free for around £90 million. Wait another 4 or 5 years, sign him again on a free transfer from that club, and then put him back up for sale a season later for about 10 to 15 million pounds. If and when a club come in for him, because inevitably they will, because the name Paul Pogba carries enough weight for a club to go, oh, go on, give him a chance. There's a player in there somewhere. That's over £100 million that Juventus have made off a free sign, off a player they bought in for free from the same club twice. And to analyze it, just looking at this from a really analytical football Moneyball level, Callum, I think we're of the same opinion. It's just really funny, isn't it?
Really funny. Yeah, really
funny. It's just dead funny.
You're all a bunch of poopy heads.
Oh, no! Kev,
sorry, goodness sake.
Sorry,
Paul Pogba is a poopy head, but whoever it is that absolutely rubber stamped the deal to get him in that second time at United is an idiot.
Yeah,
an absolute idiot, because he demonstrated what he thought about the club in the first time round at the age of 17 or whatever, when Fergie says, no, I'm not quite ready, but we're getting you there. And he went, no, I'm ready now, leave, I'm gone. And walked away. We should have just let him walk away. And he came back for 80, 90 million, whatever it was. And what did he do? Not a lot. He just upset Mourinho, and Mourinho upset him. And ultimately they all had a big moany old match, and then both left the club again and all that kind of stuff. But it's madness, and utter madness. And I think they're all a bunch of poopy heads.
Can I lighten the mood? Can I lighten the mood?
Please.
To put a nice tie the bow on this section.
I've got to be honest, I don't think there's any coming back from that. Kev's dropped the
there
one.
is.
So
there
we'll
is.
try. Oh, go on then. Go on.
I'm going to try my best. I can only apologise, Kev, for bringing up Paul Pogba. This one is an in real life non-league signing, and you might have seen this one. This player was called Adi Shokunbi. I might have mispronounced that. I apologize if I have. And he signed for Dover. So on the 9th of June, Dover put out a thing saying signing number 2 is through the door. And it was a picture of him sort of playing, and everyone was very excited. The next day, Dulwich Hamlet put up a tweet saying, welcome, new signing, AD Shokunbi. AD was a title winner of South Shields last season. There's plenty of National League South experience. So they've also signed him. And there's this like moment of, sorry, what's going on? He's also signed for Dover. And then Dover put out a tweet after it saying, we've just discovered that AD Shokunbi has not signed for Dover. He has signed for Dulwich Hamlet. We will, in future, we'll only release players who actually want to play for the club. And that's non-league. That's why non-league is so good. They've literally signed someone and he hasn't signed for them. It's brilliant. It's so funny. And the player put a tweet out with him in a Dulwich Hamlet shirt. Oh no. Oh no.
It's so good. It's like having a neighborhood cat. Nobody knows whose it is, but everyone's feeding it. It's the footballing equivalent thereof. It's like, well, we call him Buttons. It's like, no, that's not Buttons. That's Mittens. That's not Mittens. That's Mr. Squiggle Pants. It's like nobody knows who it belongs to. Nobody knows. Just like waiting. He's waiting for Fabrizio Romano to announce it one day.
Can you imagine the Dover versus Dulwich Hamlet game though? It's going to be incredible. It's going to be incredible
carnage.
When he plays.
Absolute carnage. Oh. It's perfect. It epitomizes why non-league football is so much better.
So much
than anything else. Non-league football is the best. I demand that kind of nonsense in top tier European football. Please and thank you. I'd be wonderful. Absolutely wonderful, lads. That was good. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that enormously. Free transfers, the best transfers. Don't pay money for players. It's overrated. Ask Gavin Brash. Look at how long he did it for, and he did quite well with it. Shout out Gavin. What a boy. Up the boom. Up the Gav, up the boom, who now spend 120 million pounds on players because he can.
Yeah, he's got a 981 million pound budget.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Isn't
sake.
Oh yeah. Win loads of things and don't spend any money. And in 25 years, you too could have this money. Exactly. You're going to see that. That's going to be like clickbait adverts on websites. It's like, infinite transfer fees on Football Manager. This one manager tried a trick that his board hated, so it didn't spend any money for 25 years. Oh, why didn't we think of it? Why didn't we think of it? Speaking of thinking, fellas.
Yes.
I'd like to point out that this week we are without our close personal friend Jeb, who's still in Germany, working ridiculously hard.
For a moment there, Rich, it sounded like you were going to say that he died. we're now without our long-term friend. May he rest in peace. No, but no, he's not.
Jeb's alive. Jeb's alive.
Jeb is alive. I can't confirm. Jeb is alive. That genuinely happened with a former employer of mine. They put out their kind of monthly business newsletter, and they announced in the newsletter that somebody from one of the departments at the university I worked at was sadly no longer with us. And yeah, they just left. They just got a new job. But that person's wife received about 15 emails and text messages that day apologizing, like saying, we're so sorry for your loss.
Oh,
like,
wow.
Has something happened that I don't know about? Yes, phrasing, Jeb can confirm, very much alive.
Feels very
To the point where I'd just like to emphasize, Jeb, not dead. I got a text message off him really, really late last night because behind the scenes we did some planning. I let the fellas know what was on the agenda for today. It's been a while since I've got to host one, so we're going to play a little round of the football trivia game. We're going to do it. I'm going to make you think, fellas.
We're both in pain now, aren't we, Callum?
I know.
I mean, I won a couple last time round for the first time, and even I'm absolutely in despair. So I can't imagine what Callum's feeling.
We're back.
I'm on their Instagram now with that clip, isn't it?
He is. We're famous forever. We're absolutely famous forever. But this is how good Jeb is. This is how dangerously efficient Jebaru is. He's in Germany at the moment, working harder than anybody I know that's ever worked before. At about midnight last night, I got a WhatsApp message from Jebaru, and it was a photo of 5 football trivia game cards on his desk from Nottingham because he'd got his cat sitter to go around and take some photos for me. What an absolute champion. Wouldn't it be embarrassing if I hadn't used any of them? I have. Spoiler alert, I've definitely used some of them. If you've not seen this before, this is the format. I ask some questions. Kev and Callum are going to take turns providing me with answers.
Sometimes the right ones.
I was going to say
right
correct
ones.
or incorrect answers.
No, just answers. Just answers.
Okay. That's right.
I'd like to say there are no wrong answers on this podcast, but there are. Soz. It's the way that trivia works, unfortunately. And we take it in turns, and it's almost like a sudden death penalty shootout. If somebody misses and somebody else gets a question right, and they win. They win the whole. They win a point. I've got 3 of them. We'll keep it short and sweet today. We'll keep it very, very short and sweet.
Can I just say in
please,
advance to this that if I get any of these wrong in the first round, I'm only doing it deliberately to take the heat off of Callum because I'm just that.
Appreciate that, Kev. Yeah,
You know.
thank you.
Yeah,
You know,
Nice.
just put that out
doing
there.
Doing it for content. Content is king. You know, we can't. No matter how many of these Kev may know, he's just gonna just chuck one in there.
It is what it is. Yeah, come on, then, bring it on.
Shall we do it?
What a way to ruin my Sunday. We can do it.
Yeah. How was podcast today, Kev? It was fine. And then I had an existential crisis right at the very end. That's just the way it goes. Right then, Callum, pick a number between 1 and 3.
2.
2. Well,
that is the only number between.
Yeah,
1 and
exactly.
3.
Yeah, I got that right there.
I know. See what I did there?
Yeah.
Almost like I played for that. Right then, what I'd like you to do for question number one, fellas, question number 1, I would like you to take it in turns to name football clubs.
I can do that.
Oh no, sorry. There's more here. So there's more written down. So there's more written down. Just name some football clubs. At least 3. Name football clubs whose names begin with the letter B.
Oh, I'm gonna be rubbish for this. Right.
Football clubs whose names begin with the letter B. This is not limited to English football clubs. These can be football clubs from anywhere in the world. Literally anywhere in the world who have a football club whose name begins with the letter B.
There's a lot.
There we go. There's loads.
What time did you need to leave?
Yeah, I was going to say, you got 3 questions.
We'll see how long this takes. Right, let's go then, boys.
Always going to be.
Kev, would you like to start us off?
I'd love to, but always going to be in a little while is remembering which ones have already been said.
I know, that's going to be where we go wrong.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go with Brighton and Hove Albion.
I was wondering which one you're going to go with first.
Me too. I didn't know until I said it.
I'm going to go Blackburn.
Cracking.
Burnley.
That was literally who I was going to say. Bournemouth.
Bradford City.
Burton Albion.
Braintree.
Wow, gone to Braintree. That's bold.
Well, you know. I don't know what I'm going to say until I say them. Blackpool was that one?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Bayern Munich. Let's go the opposite end of the spectrum.
This is so weird.
From Braintree.
Our minds are working the same. Borussia Dortmund.
Boca Juniors.
Where's that one come from?
Don't know.
Borussia Mönchengladbach.
Well, technically South America. That's where they come from.
Argentina, as is my understanding. Yeah.
What was your last one? Sorry.
Borussia Mönchengladbach.
Oh, nice. I mean, that is very, very cool. Benfica.
I'm already struggling. I'm gonna go with right. This is a funny name, but I'm pretty sure it's right. Brest.
It is funny. You are right, and it is.
It is funny. It is a funny word.
No, that is fair enough.
As funny as Adam from before. Remember? That's what's referred to as a callback.
Yeah, it was.
Nicely done. I must say that is impressive. How long can I keep talking to give myself time while my mind is going? There's another one in there. There's got to be another one in there. I can't think what another one is. Oh, right. Okay, let's think. There's probably hundreds of them still, and everybody's going, what? You haven't even said that one yet. But now the thing is, I can't remember what we've already said. Did somebody say Blackburn Rovers?
So my first
they
one.
Oh,
did.
There you go. Fair enough. Good
right. Callum, name another club starting with B, and the point is yours.
I don't know why this is the next one that came to my mind, but Brisbane Roar.
Wow. I mean,
wow. I mean, I
I
can't be angry at it.
I'm going to be honest with you. I might have made them up. I'm just going to double check.
they very much exist. A-League heroes.
Okay.
I don't know why. I don't know where that. I'm pretty sure we missed English ones. Honestly,
I was going to say, but there was that problem of I couldn't remember which ones we'd said.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There was. It's a big list.
Bolton,
I'm not going to lie, but
Bolton
was on there.
Oh my word!
I feel like both of the Bristols were on there as well. I don't know. I don't think there was a couple of.
Yeah, I knew there were more, just couldn't find them, and I couldn't remember what we'd already had.
The disrespect on Boreham Wood as well. I mean, honestly, apologies to Boreham Wood fans.
Obviously, yes.
I know, massive apologies.
They were my next one after Brisbane Roar. In fairness,
obviously,
naturally. Okay,
and
fair enough.
Of course, Tony's favourite, Blythe Spartans. But again, it is what it is. Hey, here's the rest of the podcast. Rich just names other teams that begin with B, and everyone goes, "Oh, it was so obvious." Oh my goodness! Right then, Kev, would you like number 1 or number 3?
I'd like neither, but we'll have number 1. Thank you very much.
Number 1. There we go. Number 1. Right then. So number one, you both mentioned a couple of German football clubs during that round. You both mentioned a couple of German football clubs. Obviously, German football clubs, predominantly, hence the name, are based in Germany, which would make them German. I'm really milking this one, aren't I? I'd like you to take it in turns, please, to name. And this is a fairly sizable list, but not the longest. I'd like you to take it in turns to please name German players who currently play or have previously played in the Premier League. Callum, you won the last point, so you can start this one.
I've got like 2.
Maybe that's all you need.
I'm going to start with Kai Havertz.
Kai Havertz is a current Premier League German footballer.
It's close call.
Jens Lehmann.
Jens Lehmann is very, very much on that list.
Michael Ballack.
Oh, Michael Ballack's a wonderful shout, but yes, Michael Ballack meets the criteria quite nicely.
Sebastian Schweinsteiger.
Oh, big bastion, very much so.
Rudiger.
Yep.
Podolski.
Absolutely, he was.
See, I'm already struggling. German, not Spanish. Oh, no. Was he German? No, he wasn't.
Good to know.
Yeah.
He was also not German.
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah.
I might actually be out here already. Who else was German? Dead air is always good on a podcast.
Right, isn't it? I'm going to give you 10 seconds.
Yeah,
I'm going to give you 10 more seconds.
No, I'm out, Rich. I can't think of one.
Oh, Callum's out. Yeah. Callum's out. Kev, to make it 1-1.
Jurgen Klinsmann.
Jurgen Klinsmann. There you go. Straight in there. It's 1-1. It's tied up quite nicely. I was going to say, come on, Callum, there's been loads of Germans that have played for Everton over the years, and I'm looking at the list, and I think I can see 2.
Who are they? Out of interest.
Who are they? Obviously, you've got Stefan Wessels.
Oh yeah, he played one game for us. Yeah.
made 2 appearances. Yeah, obviously fan favourite. Word on the street is when Everton build the new stadium, there's going to be a statue of him outside.
Stefan Wessels, and his big name.
Yeah, Stefan. It's the Stefan Wessels Arena, and also Thomas Hitzelsberger. So there we go.
Oh, Hitzelsberger.
Yeah.
Oh, he's a good one.
He was a good one.
He didn't play for us for long though. So.
No, he was there for a good time, not a long time.
Yeah.
But in terms of the current players, it's comparatively thin. You know, it's slim pickings. You know, you've got Dennis Undav, Bernd Leno, Ortega, Kehrer, Janlet at Brentford, Pascal Gross. That's it in terms
You know
of
what?
current
I'm not
German
embarrassed.
Premier League
I'm not
players.
embarrassed.
No,
No.
it's
I
actually
think
a
that
slightly
was
trickier
hard.
category. That
Yeah.
one.
Germany is tricky because there haven't been many. There's like in terms.
You would have thought
You
there
would
would
have
be
thought
more
there've been
crossover.
loads.
Yeah.
But no, in terms of like the top level German players, not many at all. Like there's not many like household names that have come from Germany. So it's an interesting one.
Who's the big lanky defender that played for Arsenal?
Oh, Mertesacker.
Per
he would have
Mertesacker.
been one of mine that I was trying to find.
That's a good shout.
Yeah.
Oh, Mertesacker's a wonderful shout. He was a wonderful man, just painfully slow. Had that reputation on games like FIFA for just not being able to run. But Per Mertesacker, wonderful centre back, just big. Didn't need to run quickly when you're like 7'9". He was ever so good. I did like Per Mertesacker. Right then, it comes down to the tiebreaker. And this one is one of the ones Jeb sent. This is one of the ones that Jeb Rue sent over.
Okay.
And this one, it could be over quite quickly. There are, let me just double check the numbers here. I think including some of these might include adverts. Let me just double check. I've been sent a list, but it's a list you have to click through, which is very frustrating. Oh no, it's okay. There are 27. So it's a very small pool here. It's a very small pool, but there are some fairly notable names in it. There are 27 managers. There are 27 managers who at some point who have managed during their career, 27 managers who during their career have managed 3 or more Premier League clubs. 3 or more Premier League clubs. Cheers, Jeb. You can tell. I can see it in there. For the audio listeners, Kev and Callum are delighted at the concept of this question. They look really, really happy about it. Dead happy about it. I'm going to be honest with you. I looked at this and I tried to think of some before I did this question, and I got 2, and I was really, really happy with my 2. So anybody who gets more than that is a champion in my eyes, as if you're both not already. Kev, you won the last round, so you can go first in this tiebreaker. Premier League managers that have managed 3 or more teams during their managerial career. You'll have to apologize. There's going to be a lot of clicking in the background as this round goes on.
David Moyes.
David Moyes is on the list.
Good answer.
Thank you.
I'm going to go for now. Right, interim sort of things is where I'm being thrown slightly here, because some managers have taken over jobs. I mean, I'm pretty sure Sam Allardyce is correct.
Sam Allardyce is number 1 on the list with 7 Premier League jobs to his name. I'm guessing that was your answer, because otherwise I've just...
It was.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, we're fine there.
Yeah.
Sam Allardyce, 7. David Moyes, incidentally, 4 Premier League jobs.
Who was the 4th? West Ham, United, Everton.
Sunderland.
There we
He
go.
did Sunderland,
Yeah,
didn't he?
there you go.
Fair enough. Roy Hodgson.
Oh no, that was mine.
Roy Hodgson is on the list with 5.
Oh no. I was sitting there quite pretty, thinking I'd had another one. Right, come on, think about it. Right. Got it. Jose Mourinho.
Oh, that was going to be my next one.
Yeah.
Jose Mourinho sits comfortably on that list.
3, isn't he?
Chelsea,
United, and
Spurs. Oh, sorry.
And
United. Yeah, Chelsea, Spurs, and United.
Rafa Benitez.
Rafa the Gaffer is comfortably on that list. Rafa Benitez is actually, saying that. I've just realised this article was published in 2018, so maybe it's not the best point of reference. But in 2018, he was on 3, so he's probably on about 9 by now. Who cares? But yeah, Benitez makes the cut.
Right. Oh, Harry Redknapp.
Harry Redknapp, Mr. 5 Premier League jobs himself. Harry Redknapp sits comfortably on that list. lads, can I just take a second to say I'm really proud of you both. This is going significantly
It's
better
better than I was
thought it was going
expecting
to.
as well.
Yeah, this is wonderful.
Oh,
This is absolutely brilliant.
Pochettino.
Oh no.
Oh,
Hold on. He's
Southampton.
Southampton.
Of course. Yeah. Pochettino ticks that box. Callum's got help for the audio listeners.
Yeah. She's not much use.
No.
Luna, have you got any answers? No. Right. Think about this one. Oh. Now this might not be on your list, Rich, because I think this is post 2018. But Marco Silva managed Everton, Watford, and Fulham.
You know what? I don't hate it. That is a very good answer. Very, very good answer.
Mark Hughes.
Mark Hughes is categorically on that list.
I really didn't want you to get another one, Kev. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm too clouded by like current ones.
It's tough, isn't it?
It is. I'm going to say no. I'm not going to say that.
It's tough.
Who have they managed? I'm struggling here. I'm struggling.
I'm going to have to put you back on the 10-second countdown.
That seems fair.
Boss.
That seems fair. Oh no.
5 seconds.
Oh, I'm out.
First and foremost, what an effort, Kev. Can you have you got one to wrap it up with?
I don't think he needs to because he was first, wasn't he?
Oh, he was, wasn't he?
Yeah, so he's already won.
There we go. He's already.
I'll go
won,
Steve Bruce anyway.
Yeah, Steve Bruce is Steve Bruce. Yeah, very, very much so. Very, very much.
And I
so.
don't know whether I could have found another one after that.
Like, that was incredible. Can I just say that's not an easy question. That is not an easy question at all. That was quite the effort.
Would Mick McCarthy have been right?
Oh, Mick McCarthy. I didn't see him on my list.
I don't know whether he would.
Let's
Sunderland?
Sunderland, maybe.
David O'Leary. Oh no. Go on, don't get Lins.
See, Mick McCarthy had no, I don't know if Mick
was
McCarthy
he just two?
is, you know.
Was he just two?
Yeah.
Oh,
George Graham, because he was at
Tottenham. George Graham's
Tottenham,
on there.
Arsenal, and who else? He was definitely somebody else. I can't remember who it was now. Southampton, was it, or something like that?
I think you got all the big ones like Redknapp, Hodgson, Mark Hughes came up, didn't he? Allardyce. Yep. The only one that managed loads that I don't think anybody picked up with was Alan Pardew. So there you go. Many a job Pards has had. So there.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Indeed.
Exactly. If the only thing that could have made this podcast any better is if Luna had jumped off your lap, but before she went, she looked at the camera and went, Tony Pulis, and just left. That would have been perfect.
Was Tony Pulis one of the answers?
Tony Pulis isn't.
No!
To my disgust, Tony Pulis is an answer.
Oh, you're joking me. I thought him the whole way through, but I can only think of Tony Pulis.
Crystal Palace and West Brom.
Was he actually? When did he do Palace?
Not for long. I don't think he was there for long. Kept them up. But yeah, he was at Palace before he was at West Brom. So there we go. What an effort, lads. Congratulations, Kev. To be honest with you, all jokes aside, I think that was the Y Callum trivia redemption arc completed. Because you've not won, but you've not won the trivia contest, but you've won the hearts and minds of the people with that performance.
My word, I took part. I really
absolutely superb. Yeah. Right. We've been recording for a fair old while now. And spoiler alert, everybody, I am on a bit of a tight time schedule today. So I don't know about you boys, but by my standards, I reckon that's probably a podcast. How do we
Definitely.
feel about that?
I very, very podcasty.
Felt podcasty, smelt podcasty,
Yep.
and that means it's probably podcast content.
Yep.
Before we wrap up and before we do our little sign-offs and our where we can find us and that, a gentle reminder that Callum, that something's happening on the 29th of this month that you've mentioned once or twice before. Is it a dentist appointment or something? There's something going on.
Haircut, I think.
There we go. Yeah.
No, actually, I am having a haircut the day before it. Got to look smart.
Me too.
It's the Slough charity day. I'm going to be super quick. Basically, not loads and loads has been announced since we last spoke, but one thing that has been announced is the 2 different teams and the 2 managers. We already knew about Lelujo. The other one, inexplicably, is Alistair. What were we thinking? He is the second manager. They both have their squads. Both myself and Rich are part of Team Lelujo, but there are plenty of other players involved. So that's exciting. It is literally less than 2 weeks away as we record. So we are nearing what is going to be a fantastic day. So once again, the JustGiving link is up and live. So if you do want to donate, please do. I think last time I checked, we have about £380, which is amazing. So
absolutely.
Thank you very, very much to anyone who's already donated to that. Tickets will be on the gate. We are not selling them online. They will be £10 for the entire day. You get the entire day for £10. It is literally a bargain in this day and age. If you cannot attend, it will be streamed on my Twitch channel, on the Callum Twitch channel. So if you want to watch it completely free, there will be the option to donate if you'd like to while watching that stream. And that's where you'll be able to hear the dulcet tones of the man above me, alongside FM Llama, Jebaru, and Connor McNeish as well. So we have got a really, really lovely day set up. I hope you can be involved in one way or another.
It's going to be epic. Can't wait. It's less than 2 weeks away.
Oh, it's starting to feel very real now. And I am incredibly excited to get to meet up with some old friends that I haven't seen for a little while, to actually get to physically see some new friends in person. If you see me during the day and I'm not just giving Kev a cuddle, please ask why I'm not doing that, even during the game.
Because there's a line. You just, there's just a line.
Podcast privilege. It's just how it works. We're all 24 and I get first dibs on Kev Cuds. That's just the way it goes. And also, at this time in exactly 2 weeks, Callum and I will be packing up to leave our little Airbnb, which will be really, really sad for me. And very, very emotional. Very, very emotional. It's going to be wonderful. So please get involved in some capacity. If you can make it to Slough, please come to Slough. If you can't make it to Slough, please watch the live stream. If you have the capacity to chuck a little donation in the JustGiving page's way, please do. If you can't, it's okay. Don't worry. Times is tough. Yeah. On that basis, is a cheeky little segue. If you don't know, if you're listening to this publicly on Tuesday, we do have a Patreon. It's patreon.com/FMTPod. There are £1 Patreon memberships available. Everybody that signs up to Patreon, or all the Patreon money we make for the month of June and also July, will be donated to the charity. So if you're on the fence about signing up and you want to, please feel free to. And the money from the last 2 months will be going. There are £1 memberships still available. So £1 a month, you get episodes early, you get bonus content as and when it happens. Go on, treat yourself, you want to. On that basis then, fellas, Slough 29th, going to be good. If you want to catch any of us before then, Callum, where can they find you?
Callum on Twitch, Callum_ on Twitter. Slough getting promoted this week. I can feel it in my waters. Come and check it out.
You can tell he means it. He's not even dropped a hypothetically in there. He's not even dropped a hypothetically. He means it with his full chest. Kev, what about you, my friend? Where can the people find you on your way home?
There are loads of hypotheticals on mine at the moment, but we'll see how we go. You can find me at the United City FM, both on Twitter and Twitch. I'm on Twitch basically every weekday afternoon, 3 till 5 p.m. Come and join us. We are getting home, but we're not there yet.
It's more about the journey than the destination, Kev. That's what I've heard with these kinds of things. As for me, if you would like to come and watch me doing the Football Manager content on the internet, you can do so twitch.tv/RichOwensFM. I'm doing the Scandinavian Triple Crown. I'm in season 3 with AIK, and my goodness, am I good at Swedish football. I'm frighteningly good at Swedish football, as it turns out. So come and hang out with me and see how that's going. Lads, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Always.
I bloody treasure my Sunday mornings. I really, really do. This has been so much fun. Thank you both for taking the time to come and hang out with me this morning. It's been lovely. And thank you, audience, for watching, listening, however you are consuming this podcast. We appreciate you enormously. Thank you very, very much. We hope you've enjoyed it. This has been another episode of Football Manager Therapy, and we will see you on the next one. Take care. Love you lots. Bye-bye.